All right, we'll call this meeting of the Freeman School Board to order. First item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call?
Emily?
Yes.
David? Yep. Katie? Yep. Chris?
Yes.
Cody?
Next item on the agenda will be approval of the agenda. I do believe that there's a typo, though.
Yeah, we just had
Carrying over.
small adjustment to, last year Emily was gone from the meeting, so we had Doug was the vice president, was the one that nominated or
Appointed.
appointed, thank you, board member to the Legislative Action Network. And then we had some edits to the surplus items document, and then I also linked that.
Okay.
We had already posted. But those are the two small changes.
Sounds good. I'll require a motion to approve the agenda. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Cody. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Chris. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next on the agenda, conflict of interest disclosures. I've received none.
None for me.
Public input.
Also none.
Consent agenda will require a motion to approve the following. The minutes of the regularly scheduled school board meeting of November 10th, 2025. The minutes of the special scheduled school board meeting of November 24th, 2025. The minutes of the Cooperative Board Advisory meeting on November 19th, 2025. The conditions of employment of Dan Graver for the position of 5th, 6th grade girls basketball coach for the 2025-2026 school year. Financial reports and claims. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by David. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Katie. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda, administrative report from the elementary principal.
All right. Thanks to Schultz Dairy that they allowed our fourth graders to go out there and explore the farm. Thanks to Southeastern Electric and East River Electric for bringing co-ops in the classroom to our fifth graders. They come in, teach them about energy, and then they get to play with all the stuff that they bring in, so that's fun. Our paras are working to obtain their para certification through the Para Pro program. We got that set up, Jenny and I did, so they're going to be taking those tests here coming up. We celebrated World Kindness Day on November 13th, so our students colored labels, and then we gave those to the coffee cafe for drinks. And then we had a really good Flyer Friday family rotation the day before Thanksgiving break with the whole school, so that was good. And then we have begun our candy countdown to winter break, so that you can see right there. And that's all I have for you.
Which, is this the correct one?
Yeah.
On here, okay. Because I got, the one I had got an email. The dates are different.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, this is the right one. This is, I used to do it.
Okay.
I used to do it, and then I handed it over to the high school student. You know, high school student council said they didn't have much to do, so
Sure. I love it.
now they've got something to do. So that's good.
Awesome. High school principal.
All right, so our FFA, they participated in the state competition at Rapid City last weekend. Ethan Bookman, he won the 2025 state championship in ag broadcasting. Jackson Bookman placed 8th in the Creed speaking, and then Remington Weir was a state participant in prepared public speaking. So I want to congratulate Mrs. Penner and the FFA members for a job well done. Oral and Terp Festival, Thor Onison earned a superior rating for his humorous piece, The Ugly Duckling 2. So congratulations to Thor and Coach Nancy Loofborough. December 4th, we did have our 7/12 Christmas concert. And then the NHS and FFA members are collecting donations to support children within our community for the angel trees. Contributions will be accepted through tomorrow, December 11th, and we just appreciate the generosity and support in making this a positive impact this holiday season for our students. Winter sports have started, so good luck to all our coaches and players on a strong and successful season. Rebels Wrestling Invitational last weekend. The junior varsity girls basketball had their first game last night in Parkston. Junior varsity and varsity boys basketball will have their first game this Friday at Viborg Hurley. Semester tests will take place on Wednesday the 17th and Thursday the 18th. On Friday, the 19th will be a blitz day, and Student Council has planned activities for students 7 through 12 to participate in.
Business manager.
I'm providing an update regarding our recent audit, which was held on site on Monday and Tuesday. During their visit, they conducted a thorough review of the financial process and documentation and procedures. The visit went very smoothly, and they were able to gather all required information that they needed. At this stage, now they're working off-site, and if they need additional communicating via email. And then they'll have a follow-up appointment within the next 6 weeks. During that session, they'll provide an update on their conclusions.
Superintendent update.
Very happy to share with the board that we have 2 of our local farmers that are each donating an entire cow to our food services program. So that's going to happen next week on Thursday. Jenny has a cattle trailer that I'm going to take out to these farms and receive the cattle and then bring it to the Alexandria butcher shop, and they have a health inspector there on Thursday. So with the health inspector, that gives the ability for it to be processed and used in a public place. So, very appreciative of that and happy that those farmers were willing to do that. So our students will have obviously hamburger. That'll be most of it will be used for. But in talking with Deb in food services, she was very excited to have roasts, so they could do the shredded beef for students, and then also some beef tips or steak bites. That'll be pretty fun to see steak bites served in a school lunch program. Again, thank you for those farmers. We have second thing that I have. We will be using the school board supplies account. I don't know if you knew you had that, but that is something that we used last year to pay for the staff the food for the staff Christmas party. So we plan on doing that again this year, and we thank the board for contributing to the food for that event, and wish you all a Merry Christmas.
Excellent. All right, unfinished business. None. New business, the school board will hold a discussion about a joint election with the Hutchinson County on the general election day of Tuesday, June 2nd, 2026. I think that's something that we had discussed prior, but
Yeah, I think Emily said that we talked about it a little bit, but I talked to the city hall lady and the county auditor, Diane, and I think we're gonna have it, sounds like, with just the auditor, so the county, on that June 2nd.
Okay.
And then we just have to split the cost of the location, and Diane will take care of all the election workers and they do the training, so she'll just do the training with the county election workers.
Any questions or comments? I know prior we had to align with either elections in November or June, and we felt as a board to move forward with the June, given the fiscal year start and the school board start of July. Is everybody still good with that? Great. If there's no further discussion, we'll require a motion to approve Tuesday, June 2nd as the general election day for vacant school board positions. Do I have a motion? Motion by Katie. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Cody. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda, the school board will hold a discussion about the addition of a paid girls wrestling assistant coach.
Something that's been on the radar for the last few years, and it's getting more and more challenging as South Dakota continues to develop the sport of girls wrestling, where there's more specific girl tournaments or girl competitions separate from the boys. So in those cases, we have to send a coach one way, keep a coach at practice, or send the coach to another if the boys are competing at a different location. We were fortunate enough last year that we had a volunteer assistant, but we also had fewer numbers. This year, those numbers have almost tripled for the girls that are out for wrestling, so that's another reason why we would want to propose that we have a girls coach for the sport of girls wrestling. And that would be as an assistant coach. We have a head coach that will oversee both the boys and the girls programs, and then an assistant coach that would specifically coach the girls at those tournaments and competitions.
Well,
So what's the number of girls then?
It's 11.
okay.
At least that's where it was at the registration time. I don't know if they're all still in the room. But
Yeah, 'cause I think on Unbound there's 6 listed.
that'd be double what we had last year, I believe. And that was including some that were sixth graders, maybe, that were practicing. And
There was
then-
2 sixth graders last year.
Yeah, I think there's 3 total.
What would be the cost for that? I don't recall. I would have to look again at the,
For assistant, oh boy, I don't even know. That would be for junior high. It was around 12. I want to say it was closer to like 2,200.
Okay. Because it'd be varsity, sure.
I'm all for it. I think it's fantastic to have additional girls coming to the program and
Yeah.
having a willing participant want to take the role as the assistant coach. And the intimate nature of the sport, I think it's absolutely paramount to have a female coach for the females.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I do too. And just like Saturday, I think boys were in Plankinton, girls were in Watertown, so there is quite a few
Yeah.
times when they're split between two different locations as well. So that makes a lot of sense to me. Any additional comments from anyone? There's no additional discussion. I'll take a motion to approve the addition of a paid girls wrestling assistant coach for the 2025-2026 season. Do I have a motion?
Hey, I'll go ahead and recuse myself just in case my daughter wrestles, so I don't know if it's a conflict or not. I don't get anything out of it, but I'll recuse myself from that.
Okay.
I'll motion.
Motion by Katie. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Cody. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, number 5, the school board president will appoint a board member to the ASBSD Legislative Action Network. I'm currently and have been, I think it's been ever since I've come on at least, that the school board president just does that. And they're already on it's honestly just kind of an email list, and then you bring up things occasionally on the agenda just to inform the board or if there's items that we need to vote on. But certainly I am happy to appoint someone else if they feel
No, if you
very
insist.
passionate.
If you insist. Go
I
right
feel
ahead.
very passionate about the Legislative Action Network. But otherwise, I'm happy to continue to receive those emails and forward along pertinent information. All right, so I will appoint myself. We'll just keep the board chair as the Legislative Action Network board member representative. And I don't believe that requires a motion, so. Then we'll require a motion to approve surplus items.
That list is in your packets. We have some Phoenix football gear that the those would be offered to players if they want to purchase that jersey to for their numbers. We have junior high football jerseys. We are going to reuse some of the pants that are going to be used for practices. So try to use as much of that stuff as we possibly can. We've got some car seats that were expired. They say that we should no longer be using them. So, and then we have some excess carpeting that was in a storage room. That's the same carpeting here. That's stuff that we are replacing with a different style of carpeting.
I'll require a motion to approve those following surplus items. Do I have a motion?
So move.
Motion by David. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Chris. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next up on the agenda, the school board will hear a report from the Facilities and Grounds Committee.
Quite a lot going on here. Quite a few updates. I'll read you mine and then go through this time in. If I miss
I think you
anything,
covered
guys.
most of it.
So first item that you have on the sheet of paper that's in your packets, the bleachers / concessions and construction cart plan. So the bleachers part of it, what we've talked about in our planning meeting so far is we'd like to start the demolition process in February. So that would mean that the bleachers would be tore down in February, which means that we would be in a little bit of a bind when it came to track season. But to ensure that we have the project done for the start of the next year, we felt that was just an important piece to get that demolition happening, and also even more importantly for getting favorable bids for the demolition. That time of year, there's not people that are doing demo work that are as busy, so should be a little bit more attractive for
And
the bidding
it's
process.
a lot easier on the land because it's frozen, so it doesn't tear up taking all that out. That was a big part of it.
So then if we do that, we lose the bathrooms, we lose concessions, we lose some storage areas. As far as storage, pit mats are meant to be outside. It'd be another month or so, month and a half, that it'd be probably out, that it wouldn't have been otherwise. But I think that's something we can find a safe place for them where as much out of the elements as possible. And then concessions would be an issue. So the thought that we recently had was to offer an opportunity for food concessions. And it's the only downside to that would be that we lose the opportunity to fundraise with our different sports. But if we knew that well in advance, we have basketball doubleheaders that are happening, and I would imagine they can get a pretty decent amount of money if they decided to work a basketball doubleheader instead. Or if they decided that they wanted to do some other sort of fundraiser, they would have plenty of time in advance to do that. So that would be the concessions side of it, the workaround for the concessions. It's not ideal. I mean, nobody would like this idea for the bathrooms, but porta potties would be one of the options. The other option for bathrooms, if people felt that they did not want to use a porta potty, we could leave the hangar doors open and they could come into our building and use the locker rooms that are right inside the doors. So that could be a nice option for other people that do not want to use a porta. And then the construction cart plan has to do with Pitt's Design Builds has a construction cart that they bring onto job sites, and I met with Doug earlier this week, and he thought that it maybe would be available, so we could take that and put that towards the finish line, and then we could have our announcer that would be in that construction cart, so out of the elements with the microphone, so the microphone would have the wind in the background, being able to announce it and run the scoreboard in that construction cart. So that would be our makeshift for the press box. So not ideal, but again, what we felt for the most favorable bids, best timing as far as not damaging other areas of our facilities, and being able to make sure that we get the project done in the timeline that we're targeting.
And that's 3 track meets, right?
Three
Three
track
home
meets.
track meets, yeah.
So on that note, the design of the facilities is going very well. We're starting to wrap things up as far as the details. The latest part of the process that we're in is collaborating with JLG, who is designing the concessions area at the entry, the press box, and everything that goes into that, and the storage shed that we will have out next to the track. So we'll finish the final details for that, and then the next step will be going out for the pre-bid estimates, and then next would be the bid letting process. So it would take place in January, and then, as I mentioned earlier, that February would start the demolition phase. We had a couple weeks ago, I forgot to put this in my weekly update to the board last week, we had the compressor for our cooler in the kitchen that went out, and we've been working with a vendor to try to get that replaced, and it's very hard apparently to find that compressor. They are quite old, so that individual had to do some work and found a compressor that was compatible to it, and that was just installed today. So that's very, very exciting news that we were able to find a very affordable option. The alternate would be to purchase a whole entire cooling system and replace it. I did have that lined up out of a company in Mitchell. They had one that was pulled out of a system that they had taken from another location. They weren't going to charge us for that system, but they would have charged us $2,500 for the install. So it's a nice cheaper option if that compressor doesn't work, and same thing happens. That's maybe something we could look at, but ultimately what we need to start looking at would be a replacement refrigerator and your replacement cooler and freezer. And talking with Deb, and this has been discussed for the last 2 years. We actually wrote a grant 2 years ago and we weren't accepted, so we didn't move forward with it. But we're getting to the point where we're just having so many issues with that cooler that we need to look at an option for that. And then also our freezer is very small. I'm hoping that we can continue to partner with local farmers and have stuff donated, and if that continues, we need to find a better option for us to have that space, freezer space. And talking with Deb in the kitchen, she feels that across from where the fridge and freezer are at, the cooler and the freezer are at, the storage room, that's where we store all our canned goods, she felt that would be a great option in that storage room to put a new freezer and a new cooler. On one side would be the freezer, which would double the freezer space that we would have compared to what we currently have. And then on the other side of, would be a little hallway in between. To the right as you walk in that door would be the cooler, and that would be slightly bigger than the current cooler that we have. But the most important thing is that freezer space, so we can keep stuff for long term. So that's something that'll be in the works that we'll look to get bids. That would likely be, need to have a bid opening and go through that formal process. So we'll have more information in the future on that one. The final item that I have for facilities and grounds would be summer planning. And we have a lot of stuff that's going on right now, just in general for facilities. We have what we have been talking about for the last couple of months with our sewer pipes, and those need to be jetted and they need to be grinded. So we need to set up a time for that to happen. I think I reported to the board that we had very positive news on that, we had the cheapest option is what we need to go with. The most expensive would have been to tear up all of our pipes and replace. Second most expensive would have been to have them relined. And the cheapest option is to have them jetted and grinded. And with the grinding, that's what would take the scales off the pipes. And what was shared with me is that once that happens, our pipes would be as good as new.
Okay.
So couldn't have got any better news than that. It's the cheapest option, and it's going to make them back to their where they were at when they were first installed. So we have that needs to be planned. We have our hallway asbestos abatements where we need to pull up the carpet and abate it for that mastic that's underneath, and then we need to have a new carpet install. Also combined with that would be locker removal, so it was part of the budget for the high school, junior, senior high school, removal of lockers and installing of new lockers. And within that whole process too, coordinating all this together, we have Dan that's going to be coming in and stripping the paints in all of our classrooms and then repainting as well. So I think the original plan for the abatement was to go this hallway with classrooms and the hallway and the crossing hallway. I think with all the stuff that we have going on, the better option might be to do the hallways first, all the way around. And then that would free up Dan to be able to go into any classroom that he needed to. We would just take everything in the classroom, move it to the center so he can get the walls, and then once he's done, just push things back. And then next year, when we're doing phase 3, which would be abating and replacing carpet for each classroom, we could just take the stuff from the classrooms and put it out in the hallways. We wouldn't have to move it to the cafeteria. So
And
it'd
there
be
were 4
less.
phases in that, right?
Yeah, so the 4th phase was in here and the office area. So that would, I think, just flow of all these projects, I think, would be a lot smoother. Anything that I missed?
I was curious, you mentioned previously submitting for a grant for the freezer and cooler. Is there any upcoming opportunities to do that now, or not really?
No, we were successful with the oven, and
Right.
if you remember right, we were
Yes.
denied first, and then I think something must have fallen through.
Or they
last
had
minute,
additional
they said,
funds or something.
We could try again.
Okay.
I think they typically, I don't think they, wouldn't do equipment and stuff like that.
Okay.
I can certainly look. I mean,
No, I
if
was just curious.
there is something out there, we definitely want to try to take advantage of it.
Yeah. All right, next item on the agenda, the school board will hear an update from the policy review committee.
Policy review committee, have anything to add on the 2 policies that were presented? So these were policies that the admin team, the principals brought to our cabinet meetings. We're in it's been a very long process of looking at that administration from individuals here at school and just making sure that we have all of our policy and all of our practices in place that we need to make sure our students are protected and our staff that are administering these meds are protected as well. So these were identified, which school district did we receive these from? Was it Harrisburg, Sioux Falls? Sioux Falls is in place, and where we received them from.
For the GLCDR, there are going to need to be, I don't know if we attach forms to policy. Do we typically?
We usually do like a dash and a one.
Sure. So when I read through the policy, I feel like we need to have 3 forms attached. There needs to be a consent form for school to administer. So like if the school qualified staff has to administer, we would need a form for that. A med form to show what that documentation looks like when it's administered. So what's the district final, here's the form. And then the third one would be a medication administration form to give for self-administration for permission for OTCs. So if they're self-administrating, then we would want that form too. So then that's consistent.
We have those forms?
We do have some forms. We just,
Not in policy.
we want, yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Not in
absolutely. Yeah,
policy,
you want
and
to
making
add it
sure
to that,
they're
right.
correct.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think you could approve this, but then we should bring those forms back to,
Sure, and then we could,
Add
right, and then we can approve the amendment.
That would technically be a separate policy.
Yeah, different, your updated policy. Okay. Oh, the forms would be a new policy. Got it, so it'd be separate from what's here.
Separate number.
Got it, but it would be linked to. Okay. Makes sense. Any discussion, questions, comments? If no further discussion, we'll require a motion to approve the following school district policies. Policy JLCAA, physician prescribed services, and policy JLCDR, medication administration. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Cody, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by David, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda, executive session will require a motion to enter executive session for the purpose of South Dakota Codified Law 1-25-2 parentheses 1. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion by David, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Chris, all in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries in executive session 7:27 p.m. Thank you, everyone.